I'm here to give a very simple and brief update. In the last 24 hours, the search has continued since last night when we confirmed the recovery of a third body. The Springfield Police Department, along with the Hampden District Attorney's Office, have continued to search the property. The Springfield Police Department Homicide Unit is leading the investigation, specifically by Captain Trent Duda, along with myself and members of my office. We're intensely searching, as you can tell. We have used technology that many of you might have seen. It is ground-penetrating radar. As a private industry has provided those services to the investigation. So needless to say, the search has been very thorough, is very painstaking, and is very much ongoing, and it remains active. I do not have any significant updates at this juncture for you other than to say we have used the ground-penetrating radar technology, which has given us some preliminary results and will give us more formalized information and a report in the next 24 hours according to the person who's working and conducting that search for us. So that information will be a part of our investigation in the next day or so. And our search continues. Again, the Springfield Police Department, led by Captain Trent Duda, and the Homicide Unit has done a terrific job. We also have crime scene services from the Springfield Police Department working very, very hard, and I commend them for their hard work. And again, it's ongoing, and we'll do our best to keep you informed as the day unfolds. And our expectation is we're going to be here for days, if not longer than that.
We saw you guys with shovels before. I mean, that must have indicated that you actually found something. Was it evidence? Was it potentially another body?
I'm not going to comment on any specifics necessarily, but a part of our search involves some hand digging. It's not necessarily indicative of finding something that would be terribly relevant. It's really just a part of the search, and that, I think, indicates how thoroughly this is being conducted and the time and hours being involved in the work in making sure that if there's anything of relevance to our investigation, if there are any other victims, we're going to find it or them.
Have there been remains found, Anthony, other than the 3 bodies that we know about?
Not at this point.
Can you tell us anything about the suspect? Did he live alone? Did he live with other people?
I'm not going to comment on the suspect. Right now, we're still in a very early phase of the investigation. I think that kind of specificity is probably inappropriate right now, and any details of anybody who's considered a person of interest or a suspect, I'm not going to get into.
Did he live alone?
I'm not going to get into that.
I know that we touched upon this yesterday during the press conference, but what was that call? What was that piece of information that led you to this home days after that initial arrest?
I'm reticent to speak about those kinds of specifics. What I said yesterday is that additional information came into the Springfield Police Department, to which they responded and brought them to this address, which really initiated this search and the discovery of the 3 bodies.
Can you tell us the location of the bodies?
Not specifically, no.
We have court documentation that says he also has a history in Westfield. Is there any concern that something might be going on in Westfield?
No. I can assure you at this point that is preliminary, and there's nothing beyond that information that would lead us to any other sites of interest to law enforcement.
Any indication of how long?
Not at this point. There's nothing new.
Any indication of how long those bodies have been there?
We're not confirming gender at this point. The remains are in the custody of the medical examiner in Boston, and the autopsy and testing with that is occurring as we speak.
Were they in a state of great decomposition?
How is the kidnapping?
I don't have any updates on her condition. My understanding is it's not a life-threatening condition, but she is at hospital under care.
Now, could you say anything about the victims, the 3 bodies that you did find? I mean, were they acquaintances? Were they strangers?
We have not even identified those victims yet.
So he had a daughter that was living in Springfield. Any update on where she is and whose care she's under?
There's no update. My understanding is that any children involved, with anybody involved in this case, they are all safe. There's no concern for anybody at this point.
And what about his mother? Is she safe?
Everybody is safe.
Any indication on how long those bodies were there? Were they in a state of decomposition?
Not at this juncture.
Did you say if people were living in the house when you arrived on Tuesday or Wednesday, and if so, where are they now?
People were in the house. Where they are specifically right now, I don't know, and it's not terribly relevant, but everybody who was there is accounted for, and as far as we know, is safe.
Is the LaShawn Weldon case?
I'm not going to speak to any Corey information, but I believe there's information in the public indicating that there are some things there, but I'm not going to get into specifics.
Is the LaShawn Weldon case still under investigation? And is that relevant to today?
To my understanding at this point, we're not connecting anything to any cold cases at this point. But again, this investigation is very fresh. We're 36 hours into this. So the primary focus is on the property, as you can tell, and we're going to build a case around that through the efforts of the Springfield Police Department and Hamden DA's office.
How long was he living here?
I'm not going to comment on that, and quite frankly, I'm not sure at this point. That's something that we'll nail down in the near days and weeks.
Can you kind of give us like a timeline of what's going to happen now and what's going to be happening in the future?
That's something that I and members of my office in the Springfield Police Department will talk about. But at this juncture, again, it's the preliminary phase of evidence gathering and making sure that we're as thorough and careful as possible.
And again, just people in the area who express concerns with safety, they're worried, is there anybody connected to him in the area?
As I said yesterday, there's no heightened threat to anybody in the area. As far as we know, there's no reason to believe there's any accomplices or anybody responsible who's out and can do any harm to anybody. We're pretty satisfied that people are safe in the city and beyond.
Is the Westfield Police Department involved in the investigation?
There's no reason for them to be at this point.
Okay, I know that you just said acquaintance yesterday. This woman that was in the car with him. I mean, can you...
I don't believe I ever said acquaintance. Talking about the car stop?
At the car stop, yes.
Yeah, the details of the police report are essentially in the public domain at this point, and I'm not going to confirm anything about their relationship beyond that.
You have an update on the condition of that woman in the car?
No, that question was asked. She's in the hospital and recovering, and she is not in any life-threatening condition at this point, as far as I understand it. In my direction, police have been in contact with her, but she is recovering at this point.
What does ground-penetrating radar do? I mean, what are you hoping to find with it, or not find?
Well, I think fairly obviously, Patrick, we're looking for objects underneath the surface. It is radar that goes underneath the surface, can penetrate the radio waves, will kick back and indicate to us whether there's an object there. It can also detect disturbed earth, which would indicate any kind of excavation or ground movement. It's sophisticated technology, and we're happy to have it. It's a great tool for investigators at this point, and it's again in this preliminary stage of making sure we gather any evidence that's available.
Okay.
Who's supplying that technology for you? Is it an outside company, or is it something you
Private
guys have?
company.
Okay.
The area where you guys were digging, was there fresh grass there, or was it seem like it's been overturned recently?
I'm not going to get into those kinds of specifics. Suffice it to say that with that technology, we were able to pinpoint some areas of interest, and we're exploring that by hand and very, very carefully. And however long it takes, we'll be there and making sure we certainly don't miss anything.
Are there any other locations in Springfield or elsewhere that are being searched right now?
No.
The technology the radar technology, was that solicited by the police department, or was that volunteered by the private company?
It was solicited by the investigation, by folks in my office, along with the Springfield Police Department, and the private company providing that was able to accommodate us rather quickly, which we appreciate.
Does the name of the company?
I don't want to give that out. I haven't spoken to there's an individual there. I think they're interested in keeping this as quiet as possible. They're providing the service to us, and we appreciate that, so we want to respect that confidentiality of sorts.
Does the commissioner, or can the commissioner kind of talk about his side of things as well, since it is kind of a joint effort between...
Commissioner can certainly speak if he wants. By Massachusetts statute, the investigation of any unintended death is run by the district attorney. So the Springfield Police Department and the Hamden District Attorney's Office are jointly running this investigation, and it falls under my purview, and we're working hand in glove, and we're very pleased with I think our results so far. If the commissioner wishes to speak, he's of course more than welcome to do so.
I would just say that I would defer any investigative details to the district attorney by statute. He's in charge of the investigation. Men and women in the Detective Bureau working very hard, ably assisted by members of the district attorney's team. And then obviously I'd like to commend the men and women that were involved in the original arrest. Outstanding job to recognize that that young lady needed assistance, and remind everybody here that started off a routine traffic stop, which is something that the men and women of the Springfield Police Department do day in, day out. It's a very dangerous job, and sometimes even the most routine stops can lead us to the most significant details and discoveries.
There are some sources that are saying a child was taken into custody, into state custody from this home. Can you confirm that?
I'm not going to confirm that. I'm not at liberty to do so. My understanding and what I've conveyed to the press throughout is any children involved or possibly involved are safe and accounted for.
I don't know if this has been asked, but can you talk about the 2 days in between the arrest and the search beginning? What led to the search?
As I said before, there was additional information that came into the Springfield Police Department, which resulted in the response to the home, and that was the triggering event in the 2 days or so between Mr. Weldon's arrest and our being at this property.
Just have the timeline correct too. Was it Tuesday night that you guys initially received some notification, not Wednesday? Because neighbors that we spoke with were saying that they were seeing the police activity on Tuesday and then continuing into Wednesday.
No, if my days are correct, we were originally here on Wednesday night into Thursday morning. So no, as far as I know, there was no police activity here of any significance or any relationship to what's happening here today. The response was Wednesday evening, and I arrived here at about 9:30 along with other investigators, and we've been here ever since.
When you say that additional information led to the investigation, what was the original information that was the foundation that the additional information had?
What's in the public domain and what I'm going to confirm is that Mr. Weldon was arrested on Sunday, was arraigned on Tuesday in district court when facts became more available to the public, and then additional information came in that interim, which led to our arrival here on Wednesday night.